Welcome all to Eat, Drink, and Explore with Cece. Today we are making Pissaladière, and that is the dish that I'm doing to follow along with the F1 cooking circuit, and they are in Monaco. And where is Monaco? It's in the south of France along the Mediterranean Ocean. And we are making Pissaladière. And so what is a Pissaladière? I apologize for the pronunciation. It is, think of it as an onion tart, and it is made with a pizza-like dough, or you could use puff pastry. You can also go really quick, and you could maybe perhaps use some naan bread or some ready-made pizza crust. It's totally up to you how difficult you want to go or how quick you want to put this together. I'm going to be using the pizza crust, the ready-made pizza crust, but what I will do is I'll add in the description below, I will add in the recipe, the components to make your own dough that would traditionally go with this, but I'm trying to make something quick that everybody can sort of put together really quickly and not have to worry about making dough if they're not comfortable in making dough. So this tart can be served either rectangular or it could be circular, but most of the times you will see it in a rectangular fashion, and it is smothered with sweet caramelized onions instead of tomato sauce or cheese toppings, for example. And so it will have a beautiful Harlequin pattern of anchovies and olives in there. And if you don't like those, you just pick around them and you enjoy the caramelized onions. So let's go through the list of ingredients that we need. So we need a pound of onions. And one of the things that I want to show you is when you chop these onions, okay, you want to chop them as thin as you possibly can. I mean, if you have a mandolin, by all means, use your mandolin on the thinnest form. I just chop them really fine in there. And then you also want to make sure that when you chop them and you put them in a bowl, just take your hand and sort of loosen them. Just get them out of their casing or their enclosure that they had when they were in the onion form. So that's one, okay. And then when you cut the onion, the way I cut the onion is I don't cut it from pole to pole. What I'm doing here is, as I said, I'm not cutting it pole to pole. I'm putting it this way and I'm chopping it this way. And this allows me to control the knife. I can move my hand further and I can get some really thin slices. And the idea here is go as thin as you possibly can because they'll be nice and caramelized, and you'll be putting that on top of the tart or the dough, whatever that you need. So I'll finish that off later. Just pop that in there. And then what else do we have on the board here? Well, we are gonna need caramelized onions, and I've got a teaspoon of brown sugar here, and that is to help with the caramelization. So we're going to flavor some olive oil, and we're going to take some olive oil and we're going to flavor it with Herb de Provence. So that's a teaspoon of Herb de Provence, and that is a half a teaspoon of rosemary. So we have some peppercorns here. I'd like the medley of peppercorns. It can be black, it can be about whatever you need. And then, as I said, I have a teaspoon of brown sugar, or it could be white sugar. It's totally up to you. We have some bay leaves. We have 2 cloves, and I'll explain how we use that. We have some garlic that we're going to crush, and some fresh thyme in there. And here I have a tin of sardines, and this is in spring water. Then I have a tin of anchovies, and that is in extra virgin olive oil. Okay? And then you're going to need some Niçoise olives, and you could be any black olives. It's up to you. But since, we're trying to stay with the Mediterranean flavor, use some black Niçoise olives from Nice. And then I also had some green olives from there as well. And then I have some anchovies, and I'm going to be using these to layer on top of the tart. And so I'll keep those whole, and I got those out of here. So this is the brand. And where do I find these? If you go to the fishmonger section in your grocery store, there's usually a fridge there, and then look through there, you'll find it in there. Just gonna make a little bit of the olive oil, flavored olive oil. So again, this is gonna be used at the bottom of the pie crust. And I'm just going to throw in there. Throw in some peppercorns. The peppercorns is to taste in through there. I'm going to put a couple of bay leaves and just break some garlic in there, and we'll just add in some fresh thyme through there as well. Stir it and let it sit. Now, if you don't use all of this olive oil, you can keep it, just put it in a container, sealed container, and you can use it for cooking, toast some nice bread, brush it on. So good. So we've got that done. We'll put that aside. And so what we're now going to do is we're going to start the onions. So the onions need to caramelize. And so you want to get a pot that is fairly large in size, and you want to caramelize that, and it'll take about 40 minutes or so to caramelize. You want to go slow. You don't want to burn them. You just want to like render them down, get some beautiful color. I love touching this onions. It's so much fun, because as I touch them, I'm breaking them up even further in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you over to the stove, and we'll get the onions started. Now, if you're short of time, okay, so let's say you're short of time, what you could do is you could take this bowl of onions, put 2 or 3 tablespoons of water, drizzle it, and cook it on high for 8 minutes in the microwave. What that'll do is it'll soften it and cook the onion down, and so you've now shaved 20 minutes off of your caramelization process in there. So this dish that we're making is a Pissaladière, and it is a very traditional recipe that was created in the south of France, and people in Nice, for example, Nice, France, eat this a lot, but it has its origins to the Romans. It's a very ancient sauce that people have done and have put on flat bread. And this is an old recipe. Now, what I'm going to do here is the paste. You don't need to do this if you don't want to have that authentic taste. You could simply caramelize your onions and brush the olive oil on your dough and then cook it that way. I'm going to go with the authentic one, and I'm going to create this paste. So as I said, you want to get your sardines in water. Do not get it in olive oil or or they have like that soya oil. It's just, you don't want that flavor. You just want pure flavor of sardines. Now, I wish I had a bigger pestle and mortar bowl, but I don't. So we'll try our best here. And so you just want to mush this down. Do it this way. So we've mushed the sardines. And so now we're going to take the anchovies. Now, if you find that your anchovies, I always recommend you always taste a little. And what you're tasting is you're trying to taste to see how briny it is, how salty it might be. If you find it's too salty or too anchovy, a way around it is you can take 2 tablespoons of milk and drop the anchovies into there and leave them there for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then take it out. Now, this olive oil is gold. You don't want to get rid of that. You want to use that. And that's another way of taking the fishiness, for example, away from it. So, oops, making a mess. So that's one thing that you can do. Okay. The other thing that you could do, depends if you want to do this. I have known and I have seen people actually rinse the fillets under running water to remove some excess saltiness that they don't want in there. But I really want that flavor because I'm not adding any salt to this dish at all. And so all the saltiness will come from this this paste that we're making here. So exciting. And we'll just keep mushing it down. Just incorporate it. So you see that oil that was in the can, I utilized it. Oh, so let me get you in here. So just mush this down. Okay. And then this recipe, this Roman recipe, then requires you take 2 sticks of cloves and just crush it down. Crush it down as much as you can. And if you had fennel seeds, like 4 or 5 fennel seeds, put that in and crush that down in here as well. Unfortunately, I don't have fennel seeds in my pantry when I decided to make this last minute, so we're going to have no fennel seeds in here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just take some of this paste and just sort of get all of that. Again, I'm just trying to do the authentic one. I want to have that brininess on the tart, and then you have the caramelized onions on top of it. It's such an umami flavor, and the contrast is just divine. Now, I've mixed that all together, and so now what you're going to do is you're going to just keep pouring olive oil into your mixture, and you're going to have to eye this, okay? And you're creating a liquefied paste. You don't want it very clumpy. You want it so that it has some structure to it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to use this and spread this on the pizza dough. So I'm going to just a little bit more. If there's any of this stuff left after you make your Pissaladière, keep it, because it's really great on toast. Let's go check on the onions and see how they're doing. You're going to put as much oil as you need. You'll just watch for that as we go. And then make sure you turn down your stove. You don't want to burn the onion. So what you want to do is you want to add in the onion. I have it on 4, which is just 1 number below my medium. And you want to incorporate it. And the trick is, once you start getting this caramelized, you don't want to constantly be stirring it, because you don't want to break the onions. You want to keep them in this nice long type of sliver. What I do is I added a few onions at the beginning, and I let that sort of absorb the olive oil, and it got a little dark, and then that prevented me from getting all of the other onions dark right away, and that's how I judged it. So we'll just let it be. Now, and we're going to add in some sugar. And remember, that was a teaspoon. This is why I love buying the Pillsbury dough, because it's ready-made. I don't have to stress over making dough, but I know that some people really enjoy making dough. And then what I want to do is I want to sort of make some edging on it. You definitely want to have edges to this, because you don't want the onions to fall off. Alright, let's put that in the oven. So I have the oven going, and we want to do that for 8 minutes. I pre-baked that for 8 minutes. Perfect, exciting stuff here. All right, so let's put together the Pissaladière. So we're going to take the infused olive oil, and then we're just going to lightly brush it. And this step I've added into the recipe. The traditional one does not do it this way, but you know me, I love the flavor. I want to add some flavor to this. This will give it a beautiful, nice color. Okay, so we'll let that all sink in, and so it'll sink into the holes that I did when I docked the dough, so that will be perfect. And that leftover oil, you can use it for something else. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to take the paste. Now, this is called Pissala, okay? And that is the Italian's name, the ancient name for this paste. So this is how it got Pissaladière, which is the French version, and then you got Pissala. And so, why am I doing this? And I'm saying it's French, but it's really, we're talking about Monaco, is because Monaco is in between. It's landlocked on the left and right side, and the north of France and Italy. And Nice used to be part of Italy, and it became part of France in 1860. So there's a lot of traditions within Nice and Monaco. So the Monegasque people do have the same types of traditions and foods that you see in the south of France and in Nice and the Ligurian coast in Italy as well. So just a little bit of history. So look at that. Doesn't it look fabulous? And that's going to be such a surprise. And so when you have the caramelized onions on top of this, it's going to give you that briny saltiness in there, and it's that umami taste, and people will be so surprised. They're like, oh! And so now you simply layer it on. So now you see why I created like a little pocket, because I don't want things falling out. You can make this as big as you want. You could make it in a big cookie tray. We got a lot of people coming over. But, you know, if you're doing like dinner for 1 or 2 people, or you just have a couple of friends coming over to have a sip of wine, like a nice rosé would go really well with this, a pink rosé, especially if you do from the south of France and from Provence. And they can all get a little bite, and it's a great amuse-bouche in here. Now the whey, you can layer it as thick as you want. It's up to you. Now that we've done that, so now the whey, it's decorated or it's presented. Many times it's presented using a Harlequin pattern. And then they use the olives with that. So what they'll do is they'll take this, oops, and they'll create a pattern down the middle. I'm so excited. This looks so cute. And so you put it back in the oven based on whatever dough that you are using. Put that back in and cook it further. I'm going to put this back in the oven for about 6 to 8 minutes, but I am actually going to remove the olives because I don't want the olives to burn. I did this backwards. My fault. Too busy chatting away with you guys. So there you have it, folks. Pissaladière. Nice and finished. You can hear it. That's perfect. And the way you can cut this, you can use a pizza wheel to cut it, and you more than likely want to do them in squares. Oh, it looks so pretty, I don't want to cut it. all right, let's try it. Because you definitely finger food. Oh, and I'll steal that all over there. Oh, look at that. Oops. Look at that. Oh, smells divine. Let's give it a try. Wonderful. That umami taste from the anchovy sardine paste, the Pissala paste below, with the caramelized onions on the top. Oh, definitely gonna have it with an olive. Oh, that is so good. That's like a meal in itself. You just have it with a nice little side arugula salad, and that's good enough for a beautiful light lunch. And it's so soft and doughy. So there you have it, folks. Pissaladière. And think of it as a pizza lookalike for this dish. It is wonderfully sweet and savory at the same time, can pair well with a good cold rosé, a white wine, a beer. You can definitely have this as a meal in itself with a side arugula salad. That would be perfect for the summer as well. So I did this dish to follow along with the Formula One cooking circuit that is happening in Monaco. So it's the Grand Prix of Monaco happening this weekend, and let's see who's going to win. I mean, last year it was Verstappen, of course, and it was Fernando Alonso, and it was Esteban Ocon, which was really great. But there is one Monegasque driver, that is Leclerc, and let's see if he can actually make it to the podium this time. See if he can actually win in his city. That would be so awesome to see. So thank you so much for joining me today. Always greatly appreciated. I will definitely enjoy this, watching the race. Hope you make it. Tell me a little bit about it, what you liked, what you didn't like. Again, if you don't want to have the anchovy paste down below, completely omit that and simply do the olive oil like I showed you, and then just drizzle the anchovies on top. So those who don't want to eat it don't have to eat it, but they will still have the caramelized onions below. But I would recommend you try it because it's definitely worth trying. And there's a reason why this recipe has lasted for centuries, because this was eaten by the Romans, and as they moved along the Mediterranean and conquering lands, they brought this along with it. So that paste that we made is called a pissole, and that's how Pissaladière got its name. So thank you so much for joining me today. It's always greatly appreciated from my bottom of my heart. Please help us promote our channel across the YouTube platform to more enthusiasts like yourselves. Hit the like button, enter a comment, or subscribe. We'd love to have you as a subscriber so that you can enjoy more recipes like this and engage with the rest of the community. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Ciao for now. That's definitely a thumbs up for me.